This is Unit 1 of Pimsleur's Italian 1. Listen to this conversation.
Scusi, lei capisce l'inglese?
No, signore, io non capisco l'inglese.
Io capisco un po' l'italiano.
Lei è americano?
Sì, signorina.
In the next few minutes, you will learn not only to understand this conversation, but to take part in it yourself. Imagine an American man meeting an Italian woman in someone's home or on a train. He wants to begin a conversation, so he says, "Excuse me."
Scusi.
The Italian speaker is going to repeat this word part by part, starting from the end. You are to repeat each part after him, trying to make your pronunciation sound exactly like his. Be sure you repeat aloud.
Sì.
Sì.
Now he wants to ask, do you understand? Here's the word for understand.
Capisce.
Repeat, part by part.
Sce.
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 Pisce.
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 Ca.
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 Capisce.
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 Try to say, I understand English.
Io capisco l'inglese.
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 Started learning some Italian, so we're going to use a word that is a word that we'll hear lots and lots on this show, and that is let's begin. Francesca, how do we say let's begin?
Cominciamo.
Cominciamo.
Cominciamo. Cominciamo.
And the
Cominciamo.
very first word that we are going to learn is the word for hi, or an informal hello. In Italian you say ciao.
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 Now be careful
What about other answers? How can I say I'm very well?
to say I'm very well. We use the word molto. Molto. As in,
Molto.
sto molto bene.
Sto molto bene.
Sto molto bene.
Molto. Try saying that again.
Molto. Molto.
Molto.
So let's practice this. If I ask you how are you, you can answer I'm very well, thanks. Come stai, Katie?
Sto molto bene.
Sto molto bene, grazie. E tu?
Sto molto
benissimo.
bene. Grazie.
What does that mean?
Well, I think you can probably guess what it means. Sto benissimo.
Fantastic, by any chance.
Absolutely,
Sto
yeah.
benissimo.
The issimo ending.
Sto
means
benissimo.
Presento la signora del monte. Ti presento la signora del monte. Esercicio. Esercicio. Benvenuto a Roma. Bienvenido a Roma. Enfin, tu es en Italie. Finalmente, finalmente. Sei? Seien. Seien. Italia.
Questa è la storia di Michele, un cuoco. Michele si sveglia alle 6 tutte le mattine. Fa colazione e beve il caffè. Va al... Sono.
Preparo. Cibo.
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 Per clienti affamati.
Affamati.
I clienti vengono
Vengono.
da molte nazioni differenti. Loro
Loro.
posso
Parlo. Ecco. Questa è la storia di Michele, un cuoco.
Questa è la storia di Michele, un cuoco.
Michele si sveglia alle 6 tutte le mattine.
Michele si sveglia alle 6 tutte le mattine.
Michele si sveglia alle 6 tutte le mattine.
Fa colazione e beve il caffè.
Fa colazione e beve il caffè.
Fa colazione e beve il caffè. Va al lavoro con la sua macchina.
Va al lavoro con la sua macchina.
Il suo lavoro inizia alle 7:30.
Il suo lavoro inizia alle 7:30.
7:30.
Topic of il cibo. Let's do some
cibo.
recap from the last lesson. So, Katie, I wonder if you can remember this, and I wonder if our listeners can also remember all of the drinks we learned last time. How would we say, for example, I would like a tea with lemon, and for my friend, a female friend, an apple juice. Let's give our listeners some time to think about it, and then Katie can answer it. I would like a tea with lemon, and for my female friend, an apple juice.
Vuole un tè con limone.
Okay, Katie.
Could I say vorrei un tè con limone
Vorrei
e
un
per
tè
la mia
con
amica
limone.
un succo di mela.
per mia amica.
Ok, molto bene Katie. Ma attenzione, just two tiny little things. Amica, ok, molto bene. E un succo di mela.
Un succo
di mela. Perfetto this time.
Okay, so I would like a tea with lemon.
Bambini.
Form here. So one male child would be,
Bambino.
Un bambino.
and a female child would be.
Maybe Katie can guess?
Una bambina.
Una bambina?
Sì, perfetto.
So then we have children, the male and female, or just male.
Bambini.
And if there were lots
Bambini.
of little girls, it would be.
Bambine.
So that's our
Bambine.
pattern again. A cheese bread roll.
Un panino al formaggio.
Un panino alla
Double consonant sound in there.
formaggio.
So try saying a
Formaggio.
cheese roll.
Un panino al formaggio.
Un panino
Perfetto.
al
Okay, so un
formaggio.
panino, a bread roll of some kind with a filling. Perhaps any other fillings that you can think of that would be common, Francesca?
E personally I love un panino con pomodoro e mozzarella.
Un panino con
un
pomodoro
panino con
e
pomodoro
mozzarella.
e mozzarella.
Di mozzarella.
So we probably know what mozzarella is.
Mozzarella.
Cheese.
Tipo di formaggio, non è vero?
Sì.
E anche con pomodoro, which would
Anche
be
con pomodoro.
tomato. So un panino con pomodoro
Un
e
panino
mozzarella.
con pomodoro.
Perfetto. Un
e
panino
mozzarella.
con pomodoro e mozzarella.
So this is my notebook that I use for the Asimil lessons. And so what I do is each lesson in Asimil starts with a dialogue. And so you can see I actually copy and write each line of the dialogue along with the translation here. I just find for one, it's practice writing, in particular if you're using a language that uses a different writing system, then that gives you just more opportunity to practice. But also it's another way to practice and kind of, try and ingrain words and grammar concepts and sentence structures. And so, yeah, it takes a little more time, obviously, than just reading through the chapter, but I find also I'm more present and really paying attention to what it is that I'm reading versus if I'm just reading the dialogue. And so also you'll notice here they have little footnotes in their dialogue sometimes that explains either like a phrase, a grammar concept, or something else. And if it's something that either I personally am having, I don't quite understand, or it's like, okay, that would be something interesting and something I want to just note for when I do my reviews, then I write it down. And something that you'll notice down here is that, so the way that SML works is that every 7 lessons, there's a review. And so it's a review on all the things that you've covered up to that point. And so when I get to a 7th lesson, then I go back and also in my notes and review my notes. And that's when I'll do highlighting like this. So a green highlight, for instance, is a word that, I don't remember what the definition of it is. So all the other words I do remember. But colazione, for example, here, petit déjeuner in French, so breakfast in English. And then I just go through and comb each page of my notes. And this is another reason why I like having multiple tools, because you'll see a lot of the same words in these different tools, and then seeing it in different contexts will help, at least for me, ingrain those words that otherwise might take a little bit longer to ingrain in memory. And so here you can see is what I've done for all of the lessons. So another word here is spesso, and facino, buttare, avere. Well, so down here, this is avere and essere are just verbs that this is something that I like to do, and I've been doing it in my uncovered lessons as well. Is if I come across a verb, I find the infinitive form if it's not in the infinitive form, and then I do all the conjugations here just as extra practice. And I know that's helped, for instance, to engrave the pronouns io, tu, lui, etc. And also then you start to get a better feel for there's 3 verb types in Italian, and then also irregular verbs like avere is an irregular verb, and so you get extra practice, and I find that it works well for me. And so I just go through that, and then I'll do a review each day to see, okay, like, has a word essentially similar to the what I do in Link in terms of like, okay, is a word known now? Do I still not know what the word means? And just practice and keep track of those day after day. And so this is my Asimil notebook, and I have one for the Uncovered series as well. I keep the notebooks separate for each course. So this is my first pass through on the 12th mini story, and you'll see that first all I do is I just listen to the story as I read along. I don't click on any words, nothing, I just follow along as I'm listening.
Ah, questa è la storia di Giulia che compra un computer.
Now on the second pass through, I'm just going to read through the story. No audio, just read through the story. The words in blue are words that I haven't seen before. When you click on a word, it turns to this yellow background like you can see with vecchio. And so, yeah, just going to see what words I know and don't know and add to my known words count. So, for example here, Giulia usa il computer molto spesso. So, we know here, based off of the other words that I know, Giulia, the computer, very, something very. So, usa, know that's going to be a cognate with use.
Usa.
So, use. Spesso. So, Giulia uses the computer very something. Spesso. I'm going to guess that it means often.
Spesso.
Okay. Me ha bisogno di un nuovo computer. So, bisogno, this is where knowing French comes in handy. Bisogno, besoin is going to be my guess. But she needs a new computer.
Bisogno.
Need. And I try to do this when I'm going through it. I'm not just mindlessly clicking on words, but I'm actually trying to think, in the context of the sentence. If I don't know what a word is, means, okay, is there something, can I use the French or Spanish or, just the context of the sentence to figure out what it means, or at least take a guess as to what it means. In this next phrase, you'll see the word vecchio. And vecchio is a word that I had seen in a previous story, but I wasn't able to figure out, and so it stays yellow because I didn't say it was a known word. Now I remember this is how I count whether or not I know a word now, is if it's been at least a complete different study session, usually the next day, and then I recognize the word again and I said, okay, it's known. So il suo computer è vecchio e lento. So vecchio, I remember now, means old.
Vecchio.
So I'm going to change that to known, and then lento, lent in French, or same word in Spanish.
Lento.
Slow. Va in un negozio di elettronica. I mean, that's obvious. Even if you're just a monolingual English speaker, you'll know what that word means. And so I just go through the stories and do that until I finish the lesson. Now, on my third pass through, so I've listened to the story while reading along, then I read the story, clicked on words, did all of that. Now for the third pass through, I used the sentence by sentence mode that Link has. And this is more of pronunciation practice while also, getting to see more of the vocabulary, the sentence structures, and it's just another third different way to utilize the same material. So usually I'll start, I repeat and then I play the native audio. I see if I made any glaring mistakes. If so, then I try to repeat after the native audio to try and tighten up my pronunciation. So, questa è la storia di Giulia che compra un computer.
Ah, questa è la storia di Giulia che compra un computer.
Giulia usa il computer molto spesso.
Giulia usa il computer molto spesso.
Ma ha bisogno di un nuovo computer.
Ma ha bisogno di un nuovo computer.
Il suo computer è vecchio e lento.
Il suo computer è vecchio e lento.
Va in un negozio di elettronica.
Va in un negozio di elettronica.
Va in un negozio di elettronica. Vede molti computer nel negozio.
Vede molti computer nel negozio.
And so I'm going to keep doing this until I've gone through the entire mini story line by line. So it's Sunday night. I'm going to cover my week 1 recap. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of the time that I spent, active, passive, and give you an idea of how much time I spent with each resource. I'll give you my subjective thoughts on how the week has gone. And then at the end, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to have a timer. I'm going to see how much Italian I can speak for 30 seconds and probably won't be very coherent, but it'll be whatever words and phrases I can think of, at the time. So let's go ahead and get started. So my breakdown of time, you can see it here. I'll probably do like a insert into the video if I can figure out how to do that. I'm still a noob when it comes to video editing, as I've never done it before. But so, like I talked about in my intro video, I started out with Pimsleur as one of the tools. I did 5 lessons of that, a little over about 2.25 hours of Pimsleur this week, but 5 lessons. But then Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday, I decided to cut Pimsleur out because it was competing with Coffee Break Italian. Then working in the achievable book, I spent 3.25 hours working on that. I did 9 lessons plus a revision. As far as link goes, I completed 12 lessons, 4.25 hours spent on link this week. Coffee Break Italian, I completed 13 lessons, nearly 5 hours of Coffee Break Italian. On the Italian Uncovered courses, I did 4 sessions, so I'm counting the Italian Uncovered courses in terms of sessions because it's not very practical to break down in terms of a lesson because they're quite long. And but I spent a little over 3.5 hours on Italian Uncovered this week, 4 days this week. And then passive YouTube and podcast listening, I spent a little over 4.5 hours on that. So my total time this week was 18.25 hours of active studying. So that's the Pimsleur, Asimil, Link, Coffee Break Italian, and Italian Uncovered course. And then I spent a little over 4.5 hours listening or watching passive material. And so, yeah, 18 hours in a week, or over 18 hours of active studying in a week. That's pretty good. And honestly, it probably would have been more, but Monday I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to because with the whole trying to figure out the setup for recording and all that took time, took a lot of time, and the issues with, batteries dying and stuff. Pretty happy with 18.25 hours. That's actually, I had honestly just set a goal, kind of a minimum, trying to get an hour a day. So I've done twice that and more. And so, yep, I'm happy with that. I don't know that I'll be able to hit 18.25 hours every week, but if I could do that, well, over the course of 4 weeks, 18, 36, 72 hours times 3 months, that we're talking nearly 300 hours of active studying, which I imagine I could get pretty far in Italian if I managed to hit hours like that of active studying. And then of course the passive studying, even though it's not real concentrated studying, I'm sure that helps some as I'm engaging with it. Sometimes I just come in and out with that, So minimum of an hour a day, because I'll be in the car, whether that's driving to the gym, to training, to work. And so that's going to be almost an hour just there, just for one of those activities in the car. And then, little breaks throughout the day, even if I am working hard. So I definitely think an hour plus is doable every day. I just don't want to get burnt out because Italian's a beautiful language and I'm really enjoying it so far. And so I want to continue that. And I don't want it to be something that is no longer fun because I burnt myself out early. Okay, so we're gonna give the 30 seconds of Italian a go. We're gonna see what I can say off the top of my head. So, ready, set, go. Io sono americano, mi piacere, formaggio, pizza, non piacere, lavoro, mi piace gatto, posso parlare inglese, francese, spagnolo, russo e un po' di coreano. About 45 seconds, so okay, we'll call it good there. Obviously not very impressive. I'm not even sure if españolo is the word in Spanish, but or Italian, but otherwise, yeah. And that's my first time ever trying to actually speak somewhat naturally. I mean, without shadowing or repeating, something I've heard. So with that, I'm gonna sign off for tonight, and I'll give you guys an update next Sunday, and we'll see how it goes. Have a good week.